In this video we will go through the steps necessary to take to create a manual grading field in Gradebook and in Studio. So the first step that we will take will be the most simple one. So we will create a new course. Let's call it manual grading uh, test 1 organization. Let's call it MG1, course number MG1, and course run MG270. So when you create a course, it's an empty course, and we can create a new section. So let's call it manual grading test section. Then let's create a new subsection, manual grading test subsection, and let's create a new unit. So the manual grading X block component is an advanced component, and if you don't see advanced button here, we will need to enable it manually for every course. So let's go to advanced settings. Let's add our X block component. Let's save changes. So you will need to do this for every new course, and if you want to use this block in old courses, you will also need to double check if you have this here. So let's go back to our course. Let's open the unit, and you can see now we have advanced button. Now if you select it, you can choose staff graded points, and that will be our container for the grade. As you can see, default is 100 points, and this is default name for this X block. Let's change that. So let's call it attendance 1, and let's give it 160 score. And let's publish this change for it to be on student side. Now let's go back to the course. We will notice that we still need to publish this change on the course level. Let's press publish, and voila. Now we have a component that will hold our grade. But to enable that component to be visible in Gradebook, we need to set it in grading policy. So we create a new grading policy, grading rule, new assignment type. Let's call it attendance at ET, and let's give it 20% of the grade, and let's set it to manually graded. Number of subsections that contain this kind of problem is 1, so that's okay. And let's save changes. Okay, this is now saved. The next step is to assign this grading policy assignment type to this subsection. So we need to choose grade as and set attendance and save. After this, you will see that attendance grading policy is applied on all units in this subsection. And since we have one subsection, we set in the grading policy a number of subsections to 1. Now let's go back to our student side. So this is what a student sees. He sees a list of all courses, and if we refresh this page, you will see a new test course that we created. When we go to that courseware and go to courseware, you will see a new structure and your manual grading X block. So we call it attendance 1 and the score is 0 from 160. So let's go to the gradebook to see how to grade this. Let's go to instructor, student admin, view gradebook, and we have currently our new X block here. As you can see, this is our X block. The max possible score for this one is 160. You can see the block ID. You may notice that this is the same block type as the one that we enabled in advanced settings. And let's give it a grade now. Let's say that this user, staff user, he had 100 points on this one. And let's say, well done. Save it, grade update. Now the entire page will refresh and you will be able to see that the new grade is saved here and your note is also saved here. If you switch to percent view, you will see your grade in percent, but you cannot edit it. So everything, the manual grading only works for absolute grades, so it's point based. Now this save all button won't save your comment, but if you need to change multiple grades of the users, this save all button will save all of them in one step. If there wasn't a save all button, you would have to click save for every single grade that you change. Now let's check our courseware and see if the grade and comment are shown on student side. And as you can see, instructor comment is well done. Score is 100 from 160, and that's that. So let's go here again. Student admin, view gradebook. Now you may notice the question marks here for some of the problems. Those question mark means that there is no section with problems for this. So this grading policy isn't assigned to anything. So we may want to check that. But as you can see here, we have our attendance that is 100 from 160. Now let's spice these things up a little bit. Let's mix automatic graded text blocks and manual graded. Let's go back to Studio, our unit, and let's, for example, add a simple checkbox for the user, and let's switch it before this one. So this is a problem that is automatically graded and it is 1 point. So when you have made a change, publish this and make sure on the course that everything is published, so that there is no publish icon here. Let's go back to gradebook, refresh, and as you can see, we have a new field called AG. AG means automatically graded, and MG means manually graded. So this is the 160 points of manual grading, and this is a 1 point of automatic grading. And both combined gives 161. So it's easier to differentiate between manual graded scores and automatic graded. And you may notice that total is still in percentage even when we are absolute. That's because if we want to calculate total in absolute, then we need to have to multiply it with problem weight and grading policy weight, and then we will have a split points in percentage, and that isn't desirable. And that's all.